AI-generated media is going to be a creative disaster, not only because the end products of AI-generated games, movies, and so on are pretty subpar consumed products, but also because it's going to literally destroy the talents and jobs of so many human talents all around the globe. I'm talking about AI taking over the entire whole creative processes of movies, games, art, literature, and so on, from generating ideas and scripts for media, coding the code of games and such and more, but to animating, drawing, rendering, writing, any creative process that a human can do and make a living from. In this video, I'm going to explain why are the reasons AI is such a creative disaster, not only the matters of how the end product looks like when it's entirely generated by AI, but also matters on how many artists, animators, writers, content creators, and so on are going to lose their jobs and end up in misery, even if there's still only one guy running the whole process to direct said AI. Let's get ready for the beginning of the end. Going back to Doom content, I just don't hope we live in a world where Obsidian AI-generated Doom levels or megawatts are put into it games perfectly and earning cackle words. Will be a real shame, isn't it? I mean, the Obsidian or Slide or Oblige generated maps, even though entirely generated by AI, can be still somewhat fun to play and sometimes even well made, but it doesn't feel the same. And the same way we shouldn't allow Obsidian generated Doom maps to earn cackle words, we shouldn't allow AI generated art, images, videos, or games to earn money or recognition or even artistic merit. Artificial intelligence has been used to create realistic-looking images and videos for years, but the technology is becoming increasingly sophisticated and widespread. AI-generated media is a term used to describe the growing trend of using AI to create or manipulate media content, including images, videos, and text. This trend is particularly concerning because it is often difficult to tell if a piece of content is even being created or manipulated by AI. This can lead to misinformed decisions being made based on fake or misleading information. For example, political propaganda that uses AI-generated media can be used to sway public opinion or incite violence. There are also ethical concerns about the use of AI-generated media. For instance, it could be used to create realistic child pornography or deepfake videos that show someone in a compromising or embarrassing situation. The trend of AI-generated media is dangerous and should be monitored closely. It has the potential to cause serious harm if it falls into the wrong hands. We've seen this with AI-generated softcore pornography art that has been generated lately by apps like Stable Diffusion. There's also the case of AI-generated music, where AI is used to generate music that sounds realistic but it's often repetitive and boring. And there are cases of AI-generated games where the gameplay is often repetitive and not that fun, but the graphics are realistic. But what if we take this a step further and use AI to generate entire movies? What will they look like? The short answer is, they will be terrible. A recent paper published by a group of researchers at the University of Amsterdam explored this very question. The paper, titled "On the Reception of AI-Generated Films, a Survey of Critics," surveyed over 100 film critics from around the world about their opinion of AI-generated films. The results were not encouraging. Over 80% of the critics surveyed said that AI-generated films were not good or very bad. Only 3% said that they were good or very good. The main reason cited for the negative reception was the poor quality of the films. Critics said that the films were often repetitive, lacked coherence, and were aesthetically unpleasing. Interestingly, the critics also said that AI-generated films were often more boring than traditional films. This is likely because AI-generated films often lack the human element that makes films interesting. So, if AI-generated films are so bad, why are people making them? There are two main reasons. First, AI-generated films are often cheaper to produce than traditional films. This is because AI can automate many of the tasks involved in filmmaking, such as storyboarding, character design, and animation. Second, AI-generated films can be used to test audiences' reactions to different plotlines and endings. This is valuable information for filmmakers, as it can help them create better films. Despite the negative reception, AI-generated films are likely to become more common in the future. This is because the technology is becoming more sophisticated and the cost of production is falling. As AI-generated media becomes more common, it is important to be aware of the risk it poses. Fake news, child pornography, and deepfakes are all potential dangers that could be created with AI-generated media. It is also important to remember that AI-generated media is often of poor quality. So if you see a film or video that has been created by AI, it is likely that it's not worth your time. As more and more media is created by AI, we are seeing a trend of disastrous consequences. One of the most worrying aspects of this trend is that AI-generated media is often designed to exploit our cognitive biases. For example, a recent study found that AI-generated fake news stories are more likely to be clicked than human-generated ones. This is because the AI stories are tailored to appeal to our confirmation bias, the tendency to believe information that confirms our existing beliefs. This means that we are increasingly exposed to information that is not only false but also deliberately misleading. And as AI gets better at creating fake news, it will become even harder for us to distinguish between what's real and what's not. Another concern is that AI-generated media can be used to manipulate public opinion. For example, imagine if a political campaign used AI to generate millions of fake social media posts supporting their candidate. The impact of this will be huge, and it will be very difficult for people to detect the fake posts among the genuine ones. Finally, there is a risk that AI-generated media will further entrench existing power structures and amplify inequality. This is because those who have access to the best AI technology will be able to create much more convincing fake news and propaganda than those who don't. As a result, we could see an increase in political polarization and social division. There is nothing but dread in what I personally feel about AI-generated writings, art, movies, games, and other media being what the majority of people are going to consume in the future. The main reason is that AI-generated media is not that good. The graphics might be realistic, but the overall experience is usually pretty boring and subpar. This might not be a big deal for, say, a game where graphics are not the main focus, but it's a huge problem for movies and other forms of storytelling media, where the visuals and the story are supposed to be the main attraction. The other reason is that AI-generated media is going to destroy the jobs of so many human talents all around the globe. Let's take movie making as an example. Right now, making a movie involves a lot of people with different skills working together. You need writers to come up with a good story, directors to bring that story to life, actors to play the roles, and so on. But what happens when AI can do all of that job for us? You might be thinking, but AI can create great stories, and you're right. AI-generated movies are usually pretty bad, but that's not the point. The point is that AI can generate a movie based on a predetermined story, screenplay, or even just a few lines of dialogue. And subsequently, the AI can even generate such stories, screenplays, or even ideas that lead into such stories or screenplays. In the future where AI-generated movies are the norm, human writers, directors, and other talent are going to be out of a job. And it's not just movies. AI-generated art, music, or even games are going to take over the jobs of human artists, musicians, and developers. There is simply no way to compete with the level of efficiency and accuracy that AI can bring to the creative process. So what does this mean for the future of the creative industries? It's hard to say for sure, but it's likely that we'll see a decline in the quality of media as AI-generated content becomes more common. We'll also see a decline in the number of jobs available in the creative industries as AI takes over more and more of the creative process. This is a worrying trend and we need to be aware of the risk it poses. We need to be careful not to fall victim to fake news, child pornography, and other dangers that could be created with AI-generated media. But you want to know the worst part? Maybe you haven't even noticed so far in this video, but half of this video's script has been generated by AI. Oh no, is JMAA becoming a machine too? Has he sold out? No, not precisely. This is only to illustrate a point. The avid listener or viewer can notice a few incongruencies with a part of the script that I generated with AI, like pulling facts out of the ass or showing off irrelevant information that the AI thought it was accurate to what I was trying to illustrate with my own writing. The AI, like in art, movies, games, and so on, does a lot of guesswork from a tiny fraction of human input to deliver what's best as an output. But does it feel the same than someone who wrote the script entirely by herself as a real human? I don't think so. A lot of jobs are going to be replaced by this sort of machine, and many of those jobs are really talented artists like Hayao Miyazaki, who was terrified of knowing his Ghibli animations were going to be replaced by an animation algorithm whose only purpose is to not just generate animations based on the actual art style, but also supposedly generate ideas, stories, or screenplays that are similar to Miyazaki's or any other artist's work. AI takes so much from stealing other humans' art and media and basically creates pink slime tier consumer products with no soul or substance into it. And you might argue, wow, JMAA, you might have a lot against the AI generated art and media, but you sure aren't as good as the AI generated art because your art blows turds. I might be imperfect at making artwork or anything, but here's the catch. There's a level of perfection when humans create imperfect art because just out of their passion making it, it actually feels human. It has a soul, a heart, a thought process behind it, emotions, something that a robot AI cannot even in a million years. And if they actually do, it's just a series of programmatic algorithms pretending to have them and it's not actually having them. You really want to be replaced like that? By machine hearts, machine souls, machine minds, machine bodies? We have to put a stop to AI-generated media, no matter the cost. And the only way to help this happen is to not put a cent into what these technocrat capitalists generate through AI-generated media. It is only so a few technocratic oligarchs can profit off the most saving costs at expense of human livelihoods and the expense of human talent's misery. And the only way they can fail at getting these sorts of profits is if we stop consuming what they automatically produce with AI. Reject soulless AI-generated media. Embrace humanity. Embrace humankind. And going back to Doomwatts, if you are human and you are watching this and want to be inspired, have a series called the Doom Paycheck where I showcase the newest watts of every month. Because even in bad watts or bad art, there's still a human soul behind them.